Hi everyone, my name is Lena and this is my week 4 presentation for Motivating Generations. So my generation, I was born in 1982. So according to our video this week, I am part of Generation Y, which are sometimes referred to as millennials. But because I was born at the very beginning of the split for the different generations, I feel I have some traits from both Generation X and Generation Y. So I do feel Dr. Sundstrom did a very good job of explaining the qualities and traits of the various generations in the lecture. And I do identify with several qualities from both Gen X and Gen Y. So I listed the traits here that I identified with. And I wanted to highlight the motivator factor for Gen Y. Being able to maintain personal life is huge for this generation, and I feel it's the reason why I know so many business owners. People in my circle, including myself, started businesses for personal reasons like raising kids, maintaining family life, flexibility to travel, and so on. So I feel that point she made was pretty spot on. As for choosing someone in a different generation, I chose my husband. He's pictured here on the right. We've worked together since 2007, so I can speak pretty well about his work ethic and habits. A few of the points that Dr. Sundstrom brought up do apply. Definitely, he wants to wear jeans and boots every day, business casual, from the waist up with, dress shirts, polos, things of that nature, but completely relaxed, from the waist down. Prior to owning a business, he did have that just a job attitude, but not in the sense that Dr. Sundstrom suggested, as far as like less loyalty to the organization. His mindset was to give it his all when he was at work, 110%. But when he clocks out, he's done. So he didn't want work calling him for anything, for any reason. Likewise, though, when he was at work, he was focused. So even though we had cell phones, back then, he didn't like for anyone to bother him unless it was a true emergency. But at the end of the day, the job was important when he was on the clock because it was a job, and he didn't want to have anything to do with it, and he didn't want to have it interfere with his personal life when he was off the clock. So, as a supervisor in a public sector agency, I feel it is extremely important to manage different generations differently. A manager's style and approach to employees is, one of their main interactions that they receive as motivation. And I would make note of the age, of the people that I'm managing, and I would develop a strategy that best suits the individual. So there are things that are universal across generations, such as positive praise, monetary incentives, key points that are on Gallup's engagement hierarchy chart, and points that are on Maslow's list of basic needs and his theory of human motivation. But, things that aren't necessarily universal would be like Mary Parker Follett's. She talks about the importance of managers having a positive approach toward their staff, treating them with respect, seeking their input. This helps to ensure that individuals they feel valued and important, which is something I think that the Gen Ys and the Gen Zs need. So, looking at a different theory, though, Gulick, on the other hand, is a more cut and dry, you know, type of approach, almost Tayloristic, you could say. He introduced the idea of POSCORD and for managers, which is a very, systematic approach in managing and for managing. And I think the traditionalists and the baby boomers would benefit more from this management style and would connect more with their manager who was very specific about duties and expectations, not necessarily dancing around the topics and asking, for an employee's thoughts and creative input, on how they should take on, certain issues. So let me leave you with this. Currently in Arizona, and I'm sure in other states too, there's a shortage of employees, people wanting to work. And so companies are having to get creative with their incentives and motive tactics to get people just to apply. Retention isn't even the concern anymore. Just getting someone to walk through the door and apply for the job, that's the focus. So earlier this week, I saw this recruitment ad on Facebook for in my community, and when I mentioned the ad to my husband, who is a Gen X, and my 21-year-old daughter, who's part of Gen Z, they had completely different reactions. My husband thought it was a joke, and I looked it up. It's not. This is a completely real company. My daughter thought it was completely normal though and cool, and she said that her boyfriend's company gives free snacks and it's great. And both my husband and I are sitting there kind of shocked. And then she proceeded to tell me that companies have to step up. They have to step up their game. Just getting a paycheck isn't good enough anymore. For her generation. So, with that being said, yes, public managers have to manage different generations differently when it comes to, motivation. And that's it. So, thank you so much.